standard tongue, so it's not gusseted, it's not so I suppose it's about time we got worked into this upper. You have Scott's all the way up lacing system. Oh dear. All the way up lacing system. Welcome back folks, I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. Yep, it's me again and we are back with another running shoe review at the channel. We are rapidly trying to play catch up after the lack of running when I sprained my ankle 5 or 6 weeks ago. We actually made several videos following my rehab after that ankle sprain. If you haven't seen them before, I'll leave links in the description so you can check them out. But also if you are new to the channel or you're enjoying the content on the channel, then why not hit that subscribe button, come along and join the Run4Adventure family. We'd love to have you and it would really be appreciated. It only takes a second to do and it is completely free, guys. Don't forget though to hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when we upload any new content. But let's get back to today's video, and in the review today we are taking a look at a lightweight trail running shoe from Scott, the Supertrac RC2. This is a trail running shoe designed to run on super technical trails, whether it be on the Cornish coast path or along an alpine ridge high up in the mountains. But let's give you a few facts and figures on the Supertrac RC2 from Scott Running. The shoe retails in the UK at £145 and it runs off a 5mm offset. So we have 22.5mm on the heel and 17.5mm under your forefoot. Weight wise, it weighs in at 299 grams in a men's UK 9.5 and 270 grams in a women's shoe. It is available in 2 different colorways for men and for women, and when it comes down to the size of the shoe, I would say it sizes up true to size with narrow width in the toe box. Right, so let's give you some details about the construction of this trail running shoe from Scott, and we're going to start from the top with the upper first. Scott have used a very innovative shoulder, cold back and 3x dry fabric on this shoe, so that provides the runner with a very lightweight, super breathable upper construction. The cold back is actually a finishing technology designed for fabrics and textiles that are going to be exposed to hot sunlight for extended periods of time, so obviously the perfect fabric on a trail running shoe that's going to be used in British conditions. The cold back actually prevents the upper from heating up, but it also provides really reliable protection against UV rays. So not only does that protect the skin, but it also really helps when it comes to upper durability. A slightly thicker material has been used over the toes just to offer you a bit more protection from bumps and scrapes while out on the trails. Moving to the back end of the shoe, we've got this nice upright and very supportive heel collar. We've got a good level of padding around that heel collar and ankle collar just for a bit of improved comfort. As far as the tongue goes in the shoe, it's a standard tongue. It's not gusseted, so it's not attached to the internal makings of the shoe, which is quite a rare thing for a trail running shoe nowadays. But it does incorporate Scott's lay flat design, so quite thin in construction to give you that nice hold around the midfoot while you're out on the trails. And then we've got these little zones of padding all in the right areas just to give you a bit of comfort across the top of your foot. Last but not least, we've got Scott's all the way up lacing system, which ensures you get a comfortable but very secure lockdown every time. Working our way down to the midsole of the shoe, and the Supertrac RC has Scott's E-Ride technology worked into it. So this is there to provide a good level of cushioning and protection while you're out on the trails, but it's also there to promote a faster and more efficient running style. The Aero Plus compound used in the midsole is actually graded, which is pretty clever stuff. So as you work down that midsole closer to the ground, the compound is firmer and denser to give you a bit of protection from trail debris or while you're running in rocky technical areas. And then as you move up that midsole and get closer to the foot, that compound gets softer, so then it offers you that nice plush and comfortable ride. The outsole of the shoe looks quite different in design compared to a lot of other trail running shoes that I've seen. It incorporates Scott's radical traction outsole, which offers unparalleled levels of traction using this 360-degree sphere design. design, which also allows mud to escape from them lugs. And then that outsole is coated in Scott's super sticky and durable rubber, which basically means it enables you to retain those properties for a longer period of time. So that's a bit of information about the spec and the construction of this lightweight trail running shoe. But having put about 30 miles plus into the shoe, let's go through some of the things that we've really liked about the Supertrac RC2. And we're also going to touch on a few of the things that we feel could be tweaked. But I've got to say, I've been very impressed and very surprised with this trail running shoe. The first thing I want to touch on is when Scott Running actually contacted the channel and asked if I'd like to test and review their Supertrac RC2, I really wasn't sure about it. Knowing the shoe, having seen the shoe before, you know, it looked quite stripped back. I thought it was going to feel quite aggressive underfoot. So I almost said no, and to be honest, I couldn't have been any more wrong. This shoe has actually played a massive part in my rehab coming back from that ankle sprain, because I felt so dialed in and so connected to the trails, but really comfortable underfoot in the shoe all at the same time. This midsole really does do everything that Scott says it does. I felt really well protected and connected to rocky trails underfoot, and then this graded Aerofoam Plus compound used in the midsole makes this shoe feel very plush and very comfortable underfoot on all types of terrain. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to be bouncing along the trails like you would say in a Hoka Speedgoat, but it still offers a very plush level of cushioning underfoot on all trail surfaces, firmer trails and even tarmac, which really surprised me. I thought I was going to feel a lot of impact through this midsole with it being quite thin in design. It feels like there's a rock plate worked into the forefoot of this shoe, but I'm pretty sure there isn't. So all really clever stuff. The grip I've got from this 360-degree radial outsole has been really good. In fact, I haven't doubted it on any of the terrain that I've run the shoe on, whether it be muddy trails, dry loose trails, wet rocky trails or tarmac. This outsole has handled every situation really well. I love to see running brands thinking outside the box when it comes to shoe innovation, and I haven't seen this lug pattern on a trail running shoe from any other brand, but it really does work extremely well. This shoe has given me a lot of confidence getting back out on the trails after that ankle sprain injury. So well done, Scott. Great outsole. Moving on to the upper, and this shoe has really fitted my foot like a glove. I'm quite narrow in foot width, and this is a very narrow shoe in construction, so it's worked quite well for me. It's felt very comfortable straight out of the box. This nice lightweight, very breathable upper feels great wrapped around your foot. The fact the tongue isn't gusseted in this upper surprised me how well I feel locked in and dialed into that midfoot. So again, great while you're out running on technical trails. You feel super secure, very stable in the shoe. Even though that tongue's quite thin in design, which sometimes I'm not a massive fan of in some shoes, Scott have worked in just the right level of padding in the right areas. So thin, so you get that nice lockdown, but then nice and comfortable across the top of the foot with them laces. Similar story in the heel collar. So very dialed in, very locked in, very secure. Just the right level of padding around the ankle collar and heel cup to make you feel very comfortable for longer periods of time. So you can probably tell by all the positivity surrounding this shoe, it's really been a pleasurable experience running in the Supertrac RC. And if I'm honest, it's been a bit of a revelation. However, there are a few things we feel could be tweaked, and the first being the price point of the shoe. Coming in at £145, I personally think that's a lot of money for this shoe when you compare it against, say, the Peregrine 11, which would offer you a very similar ride, similar levels of traction from the outsole, similar levels of comfort with the upper, and it is only £115. So quite expensive at £145. Also, the shoe has these really clever laces, probably the most clever pair of laces I've ever seen in a running shoe. So towards the middle of the laces, the part of the laces that runs through these eyelets, it's a lot thinner and a lot coarser in material. So it really bites into that shoe, really locks you down around the midfoot, and then the ends of the laces that you pull to tighten the shoe are a lot wider and a lot softer in construction. So a lot of thought even gone into the laces. The downside is the parts you pull, which are wider and softer, snag really easily when you're running. So a couple of times I was running through the trails, especially out in the towns, there's a lot of brambles and things, and I kept catching and snagging those laces. So they're full of pulls and snags now. I'll show you a close-up of them so you can see that. Again, no big issue. If I'm honest, I found it really hard to find any negatives, so I thought I'd mention it. And the last thing is actually a real positive for me. This shoe is very specific and very narrow in design, which has worked extremely well for me. You know, I'm narrow in foot shape, so I felt super locked in. This shoe has just become part of my foot. If you've got any width to your foot or you like a lot of wiggle room in the toe box, then this shoe is probably not the shoe. It's definitely suited to a narrow foot shape. So we've tested the shoe, we've told you about the spec and the features of the shoe, and we've talked about how we felt running in the shoe. So I suppose it's about time we gave some points out. So let's get stuck into the scoring of the Supertrac RC2 from Scott, and let's start with the price first. With the Scott Supertrac RC2 retailing in the UK at £145, I think that's quite expensive for this shoe. In fact, I think that's quite expensive for any running shoe. I know this has got lots of great innovations in it, and them innovations have worked extremely well. I've really enjoyed running in this shoe. I still think it's quite expensive. I think 120, 125 would maybe be a bit of a fairer price for the Supertrac RC2. So because of that, at Run4Adventure, we're going to score it a 6 out of 10 when it comes to price. Next up to score is comfort and performance, and I really have enjoyed every aspect of this shoe in this category. It's run very comfortable on all the terrain I've run the shoe on. I felt very protected, very dialed in, very stable with this very clever midsole construction underfoot. And then you've got this nice grippy 360-degree radial outsole pattern. Brilliant level of traction from that outsole. I think what Scott have tried to achieve with this shoe is to make a shoe that still retains some comfort and feels comfortable underfoot, but you've not got that deep, oversized, soft midsole, so you still feel really connected, really protected, and really stable in technical environments. And that's exactly what they've done with this shoe. Like I said earlier in the review, this shoe has played a big part in my rehab. I think the hardest bit of coming back from an injury is getting that confidence again out on the trails, especially technical trails. And this shoe has definitely helped with that. So it has to score high when it comes to comfort and performance at Run4Adventure. And we're gonna give it a thanks for helping me with my rehab, 9 out of 10. Last up is always durability, and so far so good. Always a hard thing to score after only 33 miles of running, but the shoe looks pretty solid. There's no early signs of wear on this upper, no issues with gluing, stitching coming undone or anything like that. The outsole holding up really well, no early signs of wear, and I've run quite a bit of road mileage in this shoe between the trails or getting out to the trails and getting home. So that outsole rubber looks pretty durable. The only thing that does look a bit worse for wear is the ends of the laces where I kept snagging them out on the trails, on the towns, but that's it. The shoe looks pretty solid in construction. Obviously we'll keep you updated with that as we put more miles into this shoe, and we'll have a better idea about durability. But we're going to score it a solid 8 out of 10 for durability at Run4Adventure. So tallying all those points up, the Supertrac RC2 from Scott comes in with a very surprising 23 out of 30. As far as looks goes, well, it's not the best looking running shoe in the world in my eyes. Anyone that follows the channel knows I like a bright, colourful, bold statement running shoe, and this, quite frankly, isn't that. It does look a lot better in that black and bright yellow colorway that it comes in, to be fair. But we're looking at the blue shoe today, and I know colorway looks is super subjective. This is my take on it. I'm sure there's lots of runners out there that are quite liking this subtle colorway in a running shoe instead of all them bright shoes. But it's not for me, so unfortunately, it's gonna have to get a thumbs down when it comes to looks. As far as comparisons to the Supertrac RC2, there's a few shoes out there that feel very similar underfoot. First one being one of my favorites, Saucony's Peregrine 11. Very similar feeling shoe to this, and again offers great levels of traction from the outsole. But also a few offerings from Innovate, one of them being the Terra Ultra G270 that we reviewed earlier in the year. Biggest difference between this and that, the Innovate shoe is a zero drop, but they actually feel very similar through that midsole, and again, both have very grippy outsoles. A couple of shoes within the VJ running range, again, shoes where you feel very connected on technical areas, and again, offering great levels of traction. So there you have it, guys, the Supertrac RC2 from Scott. But I think it's about time we wrap this review up with a quick conclusion. Like I said earlier in the review, it's always good when a shoe comes along and you're not expecting a lot from that shoe, and then that shoe really does exceed your expectations. And that's definitely what's happened with me with the Supertrac RC2. I can see myself spending a lot of time in this shoe in the wetter, winter, muddier months. And also if I'm ever going out on some super technical trails where you want lots of connection, and a really grippy outsole is needed. So if you are the type of trail runner that spends a lot of time on super technical trails, whether it be the coast paths of the UK, or you're a fell runner running in the Lake District, or you're overseas running high up alpine technical ridges, you feel that connection, stability, ground feel, a good level of traction from the outsole in your trail shoes is very important, but you still want a level of comfort in your shoes, I would definitely recommend checking out Scott's Supertrac RC2. But don't forget guys, if you've got any width to your foot shape, or you just like a lot of wiggle room in that toe box of your shoes, this is a very narrow fitting shoe, so maybe not the shoe for you. But that is a wrap on another review at Run4Adventure, guys. We told you that videos and reviews were going to come thick and fast this year, and we're still trying to catch up after that time off running when I was injured. So if you've enjoyed the video guys, don't forget, give us a big thumbs up, it really helps the channel out, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've left links in the description for this Scott shoe if you want to find out any more information. But we also want to get you involved guys. You know, have you run in the Supertrac RC2 from Scott? How did you find the shoe? Were you impressed with the level of comfort and the level of grip from this great outsole? Let us know in the comments below. Next video up on the channel is going to be featuring these bad boys. Interesting. Yep, it's Nike's new Vaporfly Next Percent 2. I've never run in the Nike Vaporflies before. I just picked it up. I can't quite believe how light it is. So very excited to get out in these tomorrow and get some miles in this shoe. So watch this space. But for now, guys, thanks for watching. It's really appreciated. We will see you in the next video. And as always, stay safe and keep on running.